In life, war. In death, peace. In life, shame. In death, atonement. The final line of the litany of sacrifice, recited by Krieg corpsmen when entering battle.
Hello, my name is Inquisitor Blair Servo, and today we'll be talking about my favorite Imperial Guard regiment, the Korp of Krieg. To begin our tale on the Korp of Krieg, we need to start with their founding. In M40, the world of Krieg was a thriving hive world located in the Ulyss sector and made its wealth from the trade that came through the planet. The aristocracy that ruled the planet grew rich from the trade that came through the planet and began to think of heretical thoughts of succession. They began to influence the Adeptus Administratum and refused to pay the tithe to the Departamento Militarum and began to raise private armies for their rebellion, with the citizens of Krieg ignorant about what their leaders were up to and the disastrous state that was about to befall upon the world. The high aristocrats began to launch their rebellion, with those being loyal to the Imperium being destroyed, with the only loyalist stronghold being High Ferrograd under the command of Colonel Jurgen of the Krieg 83rd Imperial Guard Regiment, who took over the Hive city from the treacherous ruler in a coup. With the loyalists heavily outnumbered and with no reinforcements coming due to the aristocrats controlling Krieg's orbital defenses, meaning the Imperial Navy couldn't breach the defenses without taking heavy losses. With it becoming clear that he was in a hopeless situation and he was left with only one course of action. If the Imperium couldn't have Krieg, then no one can. With the help of Archmago Skriel, they unsealed a secret Adeptus Mechanicus storage facility on High Ferrograd, which held forbidden weapons which they planned to unleash on the rebels. On the Feast of the Emperor's Ascension, Colonel Jurgen launched the ballistic missiles that erupted from the Hive city and unleashed nuclear fire on Krieg, turning the planet into a nuclear wasteland, with those who didn't die in the blast doomed to live in vast underground fallout shelters. With the tide turning in favor of the Loyalists, Jurgen began to return the world back to the Imperium. The Krieg Civil War would last for 500 years, where the world's surface turned into a nightmarish battlefield, with it covered in razor wire, shell craters, unburied bones of the dead, and toxic mud. In order for the Krieg soldiers to survive and fight on the hellscape, they were equipped with special greatcoats and gas masks to protect them from Krieg's toxic atmosphere. During the Civil War, the cult of sacrifice, where Krieg citizens believed that in order to atone for their world's sins, they have to make sacrifices, including their own lives, to ensure victory. This mindset persisted in everyday life on Krieg, as well as their military doctrine and regimental organization. By the time that the Civil War was over and the world was back into the Imperial hands, the Loyalists, now called the Korp of Krieg, were now masters of siege, trench, and tunnel warfare. With the Departamento Militarum requesting Krieg to raise a single regiment, but Krieg sent them 12 regiments, with their commanders requesting to be sent to the most hazardous war zones available immediately. The Departamento Militarum swiftly inducted them into the Astra Militarum and issued commissars to the Korp regiments. I feel sorry for those commissars, thinking they will be inspiring the men into great feats of heroism, only to find themselves babysitting an army of suicidal fanatics. The Korp of Krieg would make a name for themselves in the Taurus campaign, the Orphean War, the Third War for Armageddon, Charadon campaign, and the Siege of Rocks, with the Siege of Rocks being a story for another day. Now let's talk about Korp of Krieg's training and organization, shall we? The way the Korp of Krieg trained their recruits in a rather unorthodox and lethal way, with conscripts being tested, selected, and relentlessly drilled almost at birth, with their roles assigned at birth. There are trained using live fire exercises on the surface to purge the weakness from the recruits, along with pushing them to their limits. Interesting fact about the Korp recruits: not all of them are born naturally. Some are born via Vita wombs, where they are produced soldiers for the Korp of Krieg. A Death Korp of Krieg siege regiment is made up of 6 battalions, with each battalion being made up of 4 companies, with each company being made up of infantry, armored, artillery, and cavalry companies. This is unusual for the Imperial Guard. Combined arms regiments are usually not allowed in the Astra Militarum due to if a Imperial Guard regiment fell to chaos, it would be much more easier to deal with than a combined arms regiment. But due to the Death Korps's fanatical loyalty to the Imperium, they are allowed to be a combined arms regiment. A infantry company is made up of 4 platoons, with each platoon being made up of a 5-man command squad, 2 grenadier or engineer squads, and 6 infantry squads with accompanying armored transports and heavy weapon squads. A armored company is made up of 3 squads, with a squad being made up of 3 tanks, with the most common tanks used being the Lehman Russ, and their different variants, but sometimes they are equipped with Malkador or Rogodorn tanks. A super heavy squadron is made of a single super heavy tank, which could be a Bane Blade, a Bane Hammer, Bane Sword, Doom Hammer, Hell Hammer, Shao Sword, Storm Lord, Storm Blade, and Storm Sword. The artillery company makes up the bulk of the firepower of a Death Korp of Krieg regiment, with them being made up of self-propelled artillery or towed artillery. With the self-propelled artillery could be a Basilisk, a Medusa, a Wyvern, and Manticore, with towed artillery being Earthshaker cannons, heavy mortars, heavy quad launchers, multiple rocket launcher, and siege cannon, with them being towed by a Centaur tractor. A Krieg artillery battery is made up of a artillery battery command squad, a observation infantry squad, and 3 gun sections, with each section having 2 artillery pieces. The cavalry company, also known as the Death Riders, more on them later, are made up of 4 squadrons, with a squadron being made up of 10 cavalrymen. The Death Korp of Krieg has been known to use abhuman auxiliaries, with the Death Korp favouring Ogrins due to their willingness to do suicidal charges and reliability in battle, while in stark contrast, Ratlings are reviled by the Death Korp due to their tendency towards insubordination. Death Korp of Krieg officers are based on merit. Due to Krieg having no aristocratic or a class system, this means they come through the ranks or selected for their skills and bravery. Quartermasters originated from the Krieg Civil War, where they recover valuable military equipment and assess the wounded, with those who could be sent to the front lines being healed and those who have more serious wounds given a field execution known as the Blessing of the Emperor's Peace. Death Korp combat engineers are renowned for their skills with demolitions, tunnel and trench warfare, as well as being used as shock troops to break through the enemy's lines. The Death Riders of Krieg are a unique formation in the Death Korp of Krieg that date back to the Krieg Civil War, where they ride heavily bioengineered mounts which are engineered to be tough with boundless stamina, brute strength, and aggression to make them perfect war steeds. With those chosen to ride the Krieg steeds are those recruits who display initiative and independent thought. Death Riders are used by the Death Korp as scouts and to exploit gaps in the enemy line, cutting down the enemy with lance carbines, frag lancers, and power sabers. Death Korp Grenadiers are the elite shock troops of the Death Korp of Krieg and make up the first wave of a Death Korp assault, with those who survive their service in the Grenadiers will be promoted to Watchmaster, a Death Korp of Krieg version of a sergeant. Grenadiers are similarly equipped like the Engineers, with both of them wearing carapace armor, but the Grenadiers' primary weapon is a hot-shot lance gun, while the Engineers have combat shotguns. A standard rank-and-file Death Korp infantryman is equipped with the Lucius Patton las gun, 6 lattice gun charge packs, flak armor, mono knife, a Death Korp uniform, respirator, 4 empty sandbags, entrenching tool, very important for a Kriegsman, 4 frag grenades, 2 flash grenades, 2 smoke grenades, poor weather gear, rucksack, basic toolkit, mess kit, and water canteen, 2 sore weeks of rations, blanket and sleeping bag, and Imperial Infantryman's uplifting primer, also known by Imperial Guardsmen as emergency toilet paper. And that brings us to an end of my Death Korp of Krieg video. And if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and I hope you had a good day.